It's amazing when expansion teams do well in their first year or even their second year, their sophomore year, and capture everyone's hearts and all that. When researching about the 1971 Bucks, which I talked about in the last video, the last NBA video, I learned that it was only their fourth season in Milwaukee that they actually ended up winning the championship in 1971. It was like amazing. How? Only their fourth season? I mean, in the major leagues, Arizona in their fourth season of existence. They started in '98, and then in the 2001 season, they won the World Series over the Yankees in 7 games. It was amazing. It was like 4 years. And what's even more amazing is they got to the playoffs in their second year in 1999, winning the NL West. In football, like you don't really have an expansion team like be super good, except for Carolina and Jacksonville. They started off life in '95, both of them, and in '96, both Carolina and Jacksonville got to their conference finals. Carolina won their division over the San Francisco 49ers, which was shocking. And the Jacksonville Jaguars put in a pair of great road wins over Buffalo and Denver to make it to the thing. But in the NHL, one team made all the marbles. They made it to the Stanley Cup in their first season. It wasn't like the first time that ever happened because when the NHL had the great expansion of 6 teams in 1968, they put all of them in one division and made one of them play in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first 3 years, and it didn't work out so well. But anyway, this team looked good, and they should have went on another deep playoff run. I submit to you, the 2019 Vegas Golden. Hello out there, we're on the air. It's Cutter with NHL time. Tensions blow, the whistle blown, and the pucks go down the ice. Some teams just want to win the cup and do it with a smile. Hey, that is cool. Up on the River Nile. Oh, the good old hockey game. Who will come out on top? Will a team get through the cup by any means necessary? Oh, the good old hockey game. It's the best game you can name, and I'm have no shame. I will simulate those hockey games. Woo! So the Vegas Golden Knights started out life in 2017. The NHL wanted to go to Las Vegas because they were interested in it. And people were like, Las Vegas with hockey? I don't know why. But of course, with Gary Bettman, you knew that was going to happen. So the Vegas Golden Knights decided to uh, be around. And Vegas wanted sports. Baseball, they will get the A's franchise in 3 years. Basketball, they hosted a few All Star games and have had a great WNBA team. The NFL, they swooped in and picked up the Raiders from Oakland for 2019. And of course, hockey, they got through. So hockey became the first sport that the Vegas in the Big Four leagues and all that. And Vegas got what was called a loaded expansion draft as they picked up Marc-Andre Fleury from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who decided to keep Matt Murray. And the Flower, Marc-Andre Fleury, got to the Stanley Cup Finals and then won the cup. A lot of people were crying foul, especially fans of the Ottawa Senators and the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers and Columbus and all those guys from the 90s because, Vegas seemed to have a better expansion draft process than they ever got. And then, oh, right, they were. So Vegas started off life in 2018, and a lot of people thought they were going to be mincemeat in the first round, or the second round, or even the third round. I picked against Vegas all 3 rounds, and guess what? Vegas won. So they went to the Stanley Cup Finals against Washington. I picked Vegas because Vegas always proves me wrong, and Washington is known for overachieving and being choke artists. Well, how wrong I was. Vegas may have won the first game, but they lost the next 4, and I was like, oh. The one time I actually want Vegas to do well. So, of course, the 2019 season, notwithstanding, 2020 they did well. They were one of the best teams in the West and played in what they called the COVID round robin to see what seed they got. They didn't go far in the playoffs. 2021 they got to the semifinals against the Montreal Canadiens. It was weird. Marc-Andre Fleury playing games against his boyhood team, the Canadiens. And it was weird because how the NHL in 2020-21 made it an all Canadian division, and then everyone else was in three divisions for America. And Vegas got to come over to Montreal, and that you know fans got to do whatever. As I got meows in the background. But the fact of the matter was that Vegas got to the semis, but somehow Montreal in 6 games took them out and got to the 2021 Stanley Cup Finals against Tampa, which Tampa won. So anyway, in 2022, Vegas tried and didn't do so well. 2023, they got to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Florida Panthers, and they finally got to the mountaintop. Something has to be done with Vegas, how good they were. I mean, you have uh, 5 seasons. The first 5 seasons of the Vegas Golden Knights, and they get to 2 Stanley Cup Finals. Seems a little rigged? Coincidence? I think not. But the fact of the matter was that Vegas did get the Stanley Cup, and I picked Vegas to win the Stanley Cup. I even got that Kitchener guy's autograph. I would say Nick Hamblin, but that's wrong. Nick Hague. I got an autograph picture of Nick Hague. Because, Kitchener getting the Stanley Cup, that was amazing. Cat agrees. Anyhow, so Vegas tried and didn't do well in the first round of the 2025 playoffs. No, sorry, second round, when they took on the Edmonton Oilers in the division finals. But Edmonton roared back after Calvin Pickard decided to play goalie instead of Stuart Skinner. And it worked. And Edmonton won 1-0 in overtime to eliminate Vegas. So the question on everyone's lips is, how would the 2019 Vegas Golden Knights do when given a second chance? So the 2019 Vegas Golden Knights, this was the second season and all that. They bolstered their lineup, getting Paul Stastny, who was a decent player, and Peter Stastny's son, and acquired Max Pacioretty from Montreal, which was amazing. All that. They even picked up Mark Stone in the trade deadline and picked him up for an 8-year contract extension. H. Schmidt was actually suspended for violating the tenets of the substances program. Nevertheless, Vegas looked pretty decent. They ended up with only 93 points, down to earth. Calgary and San Jose were the top teams in their division. Vegas would play San Jose in in the division 2 versus 3 format. Calgary would play a wildcard team, not Arizona, but yeah. So they did okay and all that in their things. Then they took on the San Jose Sharks. They did meet in the first round, which the Knights took care of the Sharks in the second round in 6 games. Vegas lost 5-2 to San Jose and then won the next 3. And everyone thought Vegas was going to take down the Sharks. And basically, the magic happened. But unfortunately, game 5, they lost 5-2 in San Jose. And then at home, in double overtime, they lost. And then game 7 was a barn burner. Unfortunately for the Vegas Golden Knights, they were up by 3 goals, and then a controversial 5-minute penalty was given that everyone bitched about. It should not have been a 5. It should have been a minor. Unfortunately for Vegas, San Jose took advantage and won the game in overtime on a Barclay Goodrow goal. So Vegas was eliminated, controversially, of course. Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty were looking good in that series. Marc-Andre Fleury, the main goalie, Malcolm Subban, PK's brother, and Maxime Lagacé. Yeah, Vegas traded away Tomas Tatar and Nick Suzuki in a second-round pick to Montreal for Patches. Kind of a win-win trade because Patches did well in Vegas. Tatar and Suzuki did well in Montreal. And then they traded Eric Brandstrom, Oscar Lindbergh, and a second-round pick in 2022, Ottawa, for Mark Stone. Free agency, Nick Holden from Boston, David Perron went to St. Louis. Okay, Paul Stastny from the Jets. James Neal went to Calgary for 5 years. They made a few signings, draft picks. They took Ivan Morozov in the second round. They didn't have a first round pick and all that. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. So anyway, what would happen if the 2019 Vegas Knights actually did get to the second round and weren't controversially taken down? So anyway, Colorado. It would have been Colorado against Vegas. Colorado shocked Calgary in the first round, and Calgary would have been the home team. But Vegas now is the home team because of the fact that Colorado made those shocking moves. So let's see what would happen against my mate Gabe Landeskog. Vegas in game one, lost 4-2 as McKinnon and Landeskog made it 2-0. William Karlsson got in trouble for holding, and then Colin Miller got an unsportsmanlike call. Nathan McKinnon made it 3-0, and then Patches made it 3-1. Cody Eakin made it 3-2, but then Adler scored an empty net goal by Eric Johnson. 4-2. Paul Stastny got injured, by the way, for Vegas. McKinnon, Landeskog, and Varlamov, your 3 stars. Game two would see more of the same as the Avalanche won 6-2, scoring 4 goals in the first period. Goes that for Vegas, but Kerfoot, Rantanen, Kerfoot, and Sagarov. For Colorado, McKinnon made it 5-1. Malcolm Subban had to come in the net. William Karlsson made it 5-2. And then Tyson Juice made it 6-2 Avalanche. Subban did well playing after Fleury. Fleury gave up 5 goals on 11 shots. Kerfoot, Juice, and McKinnon are your 3 stars. So Colorado goes home with a 2-0 series lead. And wins 3-1. Marchessault scored for Vegas, but McKinnon, and Andrighetto scored for Colorado. So the Avalanche would have they're crushing Vegas 3-0. Varlamov, McKinnon, and Marc Andre, your 3 stars. So yeah, Varlamov looking good. Vegas says no way, we're gonna ride Fleury for game 4, and it didn't work. As game Landeskog made 1-0. Kitchener. William Karlsson tied it. Shea Theodore made it 2-1 Vegas, but then JT Comfort late in the third 2-2. And in overtime at 7:43, McKinnon from Rantanen and Landeskog and the Colorado Avalanche sweep the Vegas Golden Knights and would have went on to the Stanley Cup semifinals. So Colorado would have made mincemeat of their opponents again. And, well, the Sharks went to the Western Final and fell to St. Louis, but Colorado would have been facing St. Louis now and try to make a comeback for the ages. McKinnon, Landeskog, and Varlamov your 3 stars. But yeah, Vegas would have been screwed by Colorado a little too easily. And all that. I'm just saying. It was just a little too easy. Anyhow, I'm dropped I'm going to do.